Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I actually can't hear you.
Can you hear
Okay. Yes. Welcome.
Hello.
See
I
you.
am in my car, you know.
No worries. No worries.
It's the first time I do that.
Let's just allow a few minutes for people to join. Oh, my camera just froze. If it starts happening too much, I'm just going to have to, yeah.
So
You can still hear me okay, right?
yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
So Tomasz, you're not late.
Sorry?
Finally. So Tomasz, like you have been able to escape the meeting, or?
No, we moved it. I have it in an hour.
Okay.
By the way, guys, we're already recording for YouTube. So we have Firefly's Note Taker. That's the tool that I'm going to use for publishing this to YouTube in a second. And I just realized I need to admit more people. Sorry. So I'm just going to press admit there. Here we go. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for joining. Sorry, I forgot to click on the admit just now. Nice to see everyone. Maybe let's start introductions while more people join, or yeah, I don't have many more people to join for now, but I think I can just start by introducing myself. I'm sorry, my camera is really malfunctioning today, so I'm gonna have to do this just with a voice. But yeah, my name is Lucas. I work doing developer experience for Maestro. That's a founding entity of CBIA. And I'm here to try to facilitate the call and pass the mic around. Who can go next and introduce themselves, please?
Maybe I can start. So my name is Nicholas. I'm a core maintainer of the Marlowe team, and I'm glad to be here today to talk about it.
And the goal is to go around the table, so just jump in, please.
Hi, my name's Lee. I'm here today. It's first time joining up. I've been helping draft the charter for the working group, so I'll just be observing for the most part. Nice to meet everybody.
Hi, Lee. Hi, I'm Simon Thompson. I'm in the Marlowe team, the Marlowe transition team, and was one of the people who got Marlowe started in the first place.
Welcome.
I'm Tomasz. I'm a co-developer with Nicholas in the Marlowe team.
I see Brian as well. You want to jump in?
Yeah. So I've done a lot of Marlowe work over the years, and that's why I'm here.
Welcome. From the CBIA side, we also have Alex from Vesper. You want to say hi?
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm the founder of Vesper and, well, maybe the newest member of CBIA. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, you were until Marlowe just joined, but it's still one of the most recent members of CBIA. Yeah. So Marlowe is now a member of CBIA as well, and we're very happy to have that. We also have Aurora from Blink Labs.
Hello, I'm Aurora, lead engineer and co-founder of Blink Labs.
And Martine.
Hi, nice to be here. I'm Maarten Nere, owner of M2 Tech, design engineer, trying to build products that use Cardano and the blockchain to make payment systems. And I sometimes help out with Game Changer wallet.
Great stuff. Okay, I think I have everyone. There's no one else joining, so let's just jump in. So obviously the theme today is Marlowe. We were promoting this topic of past, present, and future of Marlowe. And I put together a quick document with some questions, but I was just realizing, first, let me just give you, if anyone's joining for the first time or watching us later on YouTube, quick intro on what CBIA is. So we are the Cardano Blockchain Infrastructure Alliance. We started beginning of 2023, and it's an alliance of infrastructure organizations and projects in Cardano. We aim to help facilitate development, collaboration, innovation, as you can see, mostly by having discussions internally and public discussions like today. So here are the founding and a number of other entities that have joined us. I still need to add here Vesper and Marlowe. Like I said, we meet and talk about infrastructure topics, hopefully to articulate with the founding entities of Cardano and with Intersect that I also need to add on this page. So yeah, I invite you to take a look and follow us and be in touch as much as is useful to you on the infrastructure side. So with that said, I'm just going to put it to the side here. And I have this document with questions that I'm going to drop on the chat if anyone wants to jump on it and add anything, even during the call. Should be going. There we go. And yeah, so from this, so welcome to Nicholas, Thomas, and Simon, special guests from the Marlowe team. We also have other members that are in the Marlowe team or have been since the beginning. And so we're very happy to have this forum here today. The documents that I invite you to fly over, maybe as an introduction or even as a detailing, I'll leave that up to you, are basically an X thread that just starts announcing that Marlowe is transitioning to a community-driven development model. There's a blog post as well that's a lot more detailed. And further down here, you'll also find a link to a Catalyst proposal titled Marlowe 2025. So if you agree, what I would do is I have the three things here. So if you agree, maybe we could start with the X thread just to contextualize it a bit. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything, but basically we have here the transitioning to community driven. There's a link to the blog that we're going to see right after. And here highlighting the open source nature. Simon, do you want to jump in, or maybe you want to do that more on the blog side? How do you prefer?
I mean, I don't mind either. I mean, I think this is kind of a summary of the key points from the blog. So I could just let's start here, rather than, because once something's in front of somebody, they'll want to start reading it. So yeah. So the key thing is that Marlowe is transitioning from being an internal IOG project to being a community-driven project, and so that implies a number of things. I mean, first of all, it implies that IOG is no longer funding a development team, though it's putting in place. I'm very grateful for the fact that put in place transitional funding to ensure that, you know, for example, if there are any critical bugs come up, that those will get fixed in a timely way. But a number of the three of us, Nicholas, Thomas, and I, have put together a bid for Catalyst funding. So the aim is with that to give us continuity of the core developments, the core development of the Marlowe and its associated systems through from mid 2024 to mid 2025. So that's putting in place that's putting in place a bid for funding. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but we're hoping that we can get support from the community for that. In terms of organisation, we're doing two other things. One is we've set up a special interest group. We had our first meeting yesterday of that group. We're currently meeting on IOG Discord, but we'll transition away from that as we set up separate structures. but we wanted to have a meeting in a fairly quickly after the announcement had been made. So a special interest group will be, and it decided yesterday that its key thing is to reach a consensus about a roadmap for Marlowe through the next year, 18 months. Now, something is, obviously something's established by the Catalyst bid, and Thomas and Nicolas will be best placed to talk through the details of that. But the special interest group is there to represent as a focus for the Marlowe ecosystem, developers, stakeholders of other kinds. So pulling together everybody in the ecosystem and aiming to reach consensus on where Marlowe goes. So we set that up. That's simply meeting us in Discord. What we're also in the process of doing is looking at setting up a not-for-profit that will become the Marlowe Foundation, that will own the IP in Marlowe, and that will be transferred from IOG, and that will be the organization that will be there to support and sustain and publicize Marlowe. And we're aiming to have that done in the next couple of months. It's we'd hope to have it done sooner, but these things take time. Just designing the right vehicle, where to establish it, and so on, is something that we're talking about at the moment. But we expect to have, by the time that we get results of the Catalyst funding, we expect to have the working group up and running and producing things like an initial roadmap. We expect to have the Marlowe Foundation in place. And we're hoping to get the Catalyst bid. Just to say something about the Catalyst bid, and then I'll stop talking. We had to make a decision about how to.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought maybe we should. You're not going to go over this one for now, right?
Okay.
Do you want to fly over this, or?
Well, I think Thomas and Nicola will do that. It's got quite a lot of detail about what we're doing organisationally, but then I think talking about our roadmap in there is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
All I wanted to say was we had quite a bit of discussion about whether we put in multiple bids to Catalyst, but we were worried in that case about the messaging being people not understanding, and us perhaps not understanding what it is we were precisely asking for. Were we asking for all of them, or how would people choose between multiple bids? So we decided, for simplicity, to make a single bid focused on what we saw was essential to, without disrupting Marlowe as it is, but enhancing what Marlowe offers. So that's what's behind us putting in a single bid in the product category of Catalyst funding.
Yeah.
Thomas, Nikolai, do you want to talk a bit about the technical content?
We have a visual that sum up the Catalyst proposal. I put it into the Google document that you like a moment ago.
Or
Yes,
at the bottom of the proposal. Oh yeah.
Great, thanks.
I can only add to what Simon said. Sorry, because one word is like we really wanted to focus on those long-hanging fruits. So we want to use the current language. We don't want to change language in this proposal. We want to do slight changes to the validator, and we want to put a lot of work around the validator. So we expose like the most valuable from business perspective opportunities which could be implemented using Marlowe. That was our main objective. So we are in product category because most of those steps really provide some capabilities to monetize or build businesses on top of those.
And so like currently all the repository that we have related to Marlowe are under the IOG GitHub organization, and we are planning to move them to a new organization. And so the documentation is in IOG website. So we need to make an effort at the beginning. So that would be the first milestone, is like to consolidate everything to one place, with the Marlowe Lang GitHub organization. And then what we want to do is like we want to so we are shifting a bit the narrative, where before it was like about it was also for non-technical people. Now we want to focus our effort on the app builders, and so that bit is about like the app builder experience. And so at the beginning, what we want is like we want to refine the starter kit and make it really focus on that. And we want to focus first on the we have a TypeScript SDK. And so we want to focus the experience on this SDK first, and then eventually we will open it to other languages. So maybe Tomasz, you can speak about the second milestone.
Yeah. I want to only add one thing. Was we meaning the core team gonna be focused on this target group, which are developers really. But that doesn't really mean that we say that Marlowe cannot be used by regular user and cannot be understood by a regular user. And we started even cooperation with Gimbal Labs. They have complementary proposal where they gonna work on like targeting this less technical people, like business people and people around. And Pedro, you also building proposals around this. So it's not like we are saying Marlowe is not for non-technical people. Yeah, we are saying that because we are a small team, we're gonna focus strictly on this part, and we are leaving to you, Pedro. Lucas,
to Gimbal Labs,
to Gimbal Labs, this other part for us for now, because we don't have like resources to cover everything. Yeah. Okay, so I can touch quickly on this second step, which is micropayments. So we discovered that with a small twist, we can introduce something like partial commitments or partial choices to the language, to the validator. We use this name, which is micropayments, because under the hood, the feature is really called input signing. But on top of input signing, you can implement, for example, micropayments. And we use this catchy name so people can be happy. Okay, but that's really a micropayment. What it means? It means that you can create a contract which allows you to, for example, like a bounty contract or like subscription contract, where user commits to a payment, to partial payment. And when he commits off-chain to a partial payment, the recipient of this payment can cash it out at any point. So it's like we can imagine paper checks which are passed from one party to the other, and we can imagine a bank transfer as a blockchain. So the final cash out of those checks is transferred to the blockchain. So this is really like micropayment solution.
Maybe, I'm not sure if anyone in the room has any questions on this specific point. Jump in. This is an open discussion. I know we have, like Martin, for example, is very much in this space. Like he said, he works on, he helps with Game Changer sometimes, and we have Alex. So sometimes micropayments could be very relevant for these kinds of apps. But anyone?
Yeah, I've had discussions with Adriano about he really would like to use Marlowe in Game Changer. Only Game Changer is completely online, and we had some trouble combining the transaction of Game Changer with how Marlowe is structured. So maybe it would be nice to combine the two, but there's some technical difficulties there. So maybe it's nice to solve these once. Have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe keep in touch, maybe through the CBIA Discord server, or obviously directly as well. But what we try to do in that server, in the Intersect infrastructure work group space, is to have these meeting points where people can discuss. Someone is on the chat.
So, Paul, are you asking specifically about this micropayment feature or Marlowe in general?
Oh, I can unmute. Thanks. No, it's, you know what, I'm honestly just looking for an overview. Micropayments are interesting to me, but more so from my own perspective, some of my own businesses. My focus being here today is just to soak in what you guys are talking about, because I do plan on, like I've been helping for the last 5-6 years, helping small businesses and merchants get to understand contract law. And I'm seeing a lot of parallels that are available for them within the Cardano ecosystem that really ties in and even dovetails with what a lot of the things I've been teaching. And so, yeah, my focus here today was just to get more introduced. I've played around a little bit with Marlowe, but I'm not a developer. I'm more of a WYSIWYG editor. And so my intention is to really start to learn how to bridge the gap between the local small business owners that, honestly, some of my clients have a hard time attaching pictures to emails. So I want to learn how I can help them the most. And my role here is just to soak in the information. Thanks for opening this up to me.
So I think that in many cases we could be good match. Meaning, Marlowe tries to target small businesses as well. Like Marlowe tries to lower the entry point and the business risk and the cost of integration of Web3 solution, Web3 contract, or Web3 payment solution into the web page. But I would not say that it's as easy attach an image to an email. It requires a bit of work. It requires a bit of knowledge, but still it's gonna be like pretty basic, we can say, stuff from Web 2, meaning REST APIs plus TypeScript. Yeah, that's what we aim for.
Yeah, and I would imagine that I'll see opportunities to slide in and start implementing here in the next few months, simply because we're at a really good time, especially in the nation that I live. So this is exciting.
And we are using like mainstream technology. Like if you have an idea of the app, you could find like some developers, that can do it for you. Like because one of the issue of that we have on Cardano is like before it was like you will have to know Haskell. I don't know if you know that language, which is like a really specific language, and then there's not a lot of developers that are proficient in that. And so now what we are providing with Marlowe is like we are providing the features with a technology that is really mainstream. So
I liken it to like the work that I've done, again, working with small businesses and local merchants, just helping them get a web presence. I'm familiar with what you guys are doing. You're basically making an interface for people who don't have that programming knowledge to be able to start implementing on their own Web 2.0 platform. And that's exactly what I've been doing for 15 years. So I'm excited.
But we still keep like the language and future of the language. Probably Simon can talk a lot about it. So we have this background. So Marlowe was designed so it's secure, have those many nice properties. So it's not only nice way to talk to the blockchain using TypeScript, it also brings to the table a lot of guarantees, ease of reasoning, stuff like this. So I think it's like in combination, it's a nice language.
And what I'm really looking forward to is as I become proficient, I'll be able to create the infographics that small business and merchant can actually comprehend. Right now, when I'm talking about it, it's still very conceptual for them, even abstract. And so as I'm learning this stuff and as I'm relaying information to them about this, I'm finding ways to help them welcome this technology into their business, where even a year ago, I wasn't getting quality questions like, can you explain to me blockchain? So having these kinds of questions are leading indicators to me that, this is a really prime time for me to learn how to build that bridge for them. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'll let you guys get back to your presentation. You guys are on a roll there. I didn't want to take.
Yeah, no, but thanks, Paul. This is really interesting. And personally, I'm here in the capacity of DevX for Maestro, but I also have an initiative to onboard end users and small businesses, and that's why I got funded as well to run Marlowe for non-technical people. And I can really resonate with what you're saying. It's like if there's a lot of talk about marketing and onboarding users and reaching the outer world. And I also worked in drag and drop workflows for businesses, so I can really understand they need to see things. They need to see the info charts or anything like you were saying, so that they understand what they're building as a solution for their business. So that's why I love Marlowe as well. Right. So then that covers the micropayments section of this image. Should we go on to the smart contract execution optimization?
Yeah. So so the milestone that would be we want to optimize the number of transactions you need for running contracts, and we already made some progress over the last 6 months. So for example, now we've just released a new version of what we call runtimes, the backend that handle everything. So we are able to, for example, create the contract and have initial deposits. That was not the case before. You had to do 2 transactions before, and so it's a bit funny, but like if you see the alternatives of Marlowe, like they can do a swap, into transaction, and then we cannot do that because of historical reasons. We were at the beginning, it was supposed to be a financial DSL, and so what we want is we want to fix this. We want to have like a swap contract that can take 2 transactions, and not only for the swap, but like it will open like a optimization for all kind of contracts. So that's the main objective of this milestone. Maybe Tomasz, you want to add something?
So to add some background, so Marlowe was focused not on those edge cases, and usually when people start playing around with the tech, they put together the simplest contract which they can imagine, which is a swap. And then it's hard time to explain to them, okay, this requires 4 transactions. Why the swap requires 4 transactions? So we said, okay, we have to fix this and make a swap, which is like 2 transaction swap. So we won't have to answer anymore this question. And the historical background behind this is like Marlowe is prepared to handle more complicated scenarios. And we always thought those extra 2 transactions at the beginning and end are like not really important if you consider multi-step larger contract. But unfortunately, people approach the technology usually starting with the basic example, and they say, okay, this is 2 times more than I expected. But one interesting point is like those optimizations gonna be relevant to other contracts as well. We are not optimizing swap necessarily. We are optimizing some cash outs and entering and some interactions between 2 contracts, stuff like this. So those changes gonna optimize swap to 2 transactions, but also gonna optimize many more contracts.
So this is going to be essentially like work on the runtime, and the TSSDK won't be modified that much with this milestone. So maybe the next one is like more TSSDK focus. So we have a lot of features that have been delivered in the runtime, and then that cannot be really used in a seamless way. And the work of this milestone, like seamless integration of deep contracts, would be to package better everything we have in the runtime. And so, for example, when you have contracts that becomes like a bit big, like they have multiple steps, then you need to use something called Merkleization of the contracts. And so that thing, it's a bit, you have some friction to use that in the JS SDK. And also an issue that we have when you want to integrate a contract in a DApp is like you don't really know where you are in the contract execution, and we want to add an annotation system where you can see the contract, view a simple state machine where you name the states, you name the transition, and you can query the state of a contract and get this in an easier manner. So that would be like about polishing the SDK interface, like putting everything together in an easy way. At the moment, we have like a experimental sections, and this is feasible. Like you can find examples, but yeah. So we want to make it streamline, easier, and you don't have to think to do what you want. Like it's about infrastructure, you know, like you don't want to think too much about infrastructure. What you want at the end is to focus on your domain, you know, and you want to abstract the infrastructure. So that would be really like about abstracting the infrastructure for you, and removing the friction.
Yeah, hiding the details, which are
Sounds good.
necessarily pleasant.
Yeah, it's like one of my challenges for this session is although we do have some more smart contract oriented members of CBIA, but one of my challenges was to relate this conversation with the infrastructure side. And for example, you have been partnering with TXPipe to run Marlowe and to facilitate that. This is, I imagine, something that would optimize what runs at TXPipe. Is that it?
Not necessarily. This is about actually the surface of the APIs.
Okay.
This is targeting the end use the TypeScript developers want to make
Got it.
Yeah, like
okay.
Marlowe in some sense hides the UTXO complexity, but in this case, which Nicholas mentioned, like Merkleization and some state transitions could be provided in or exposed in easier way or hidden even. That's what our goal, to make it really seamless.
And then you have to understand the language itself, but then you have to also understand how you execute contracts. And so, you know, like education wise, simplifying this, you know, this execution, we will have adoption better. You know, like that's so. We think that this is like there could be this could slow down the adoption, and we want to fix that.
And it's not only theoretical, because Erna and Nicholas, they started already. We have experimental branch, and we had yesterday working group. So there was a feedback. Okay, you should merge this experimental as quick as possible, but we don't want to commit to this API yet, and want to polish it and do stuff.
So you have different stages in like till you have a DApp using Marlowe. So you have to learn the language, and then when you go through these stages, and then you want to integrate, you know, a Marlowe contract in your DApp, you feeling that. So if you went through it, you will understand that. So it's really like fixing these issues.
Okay, sounds good. And next we have the Oracle protocol.
So, because this is like sequential order, this milestone, but it's actually already started. So, what is all about this milestone is about putting together a SIP and also confront this idea or provide this idea to current oracles. We started this chatting with OrgFax. We starting chatting with Charlie Free. Yesterday we met Wolfram people. They're gonna have Oracle as well, and this is a really surprising result of some properties of Marlowe. It's changing how oracles. It's proposition to change how Oracle work on blockchain, meaning oracles are feed based, so oracles publish data on the chain, so the set of data points is limited. And Marlowe is transparent, so you can publish a request on the blockchain, and Oracle can see the request and can see also the payout for its service after in the next step of the contract. So in some sense, it sees a request together with a payment for the service. So what we want to do is like we want to expose it also to other languages like Aiken. And in order to do this, this is a bit technical. So let's imagine that you have an Aiken script which wants to perform 3 requests to 3 oracles. You can spin off 3 requests, but you need to collect those data, the data points provided by oracles, back to the script. And in order to do so, we have to preserve the state of Marlowe. And currently, when we close Marlowe contract, so the Aiken script, for example, could spin off 3 simple requests. Those are really tiny Marlowe contracts. But when we close the Marlowe contracts, we destroy the state, and we want to introduce the state passing. So we gonna preserve and pass the state to the other script at the end. So that's the technical detail. But this is pretty nice and cool feature, I think, and proposal.
So yeah, the last one is about like monetizing the runtime. So we want to incentivize like people to host like runtime instances and provide it to end users. So at the moment we are providing some instances, and TXPipe is providing also like some instances via Demeter.run. And so the idea to that is to add a fee mechanism. So for example, if an end user like run a contract, it will pay fees to the person like hosting the runtime. And what we want to do as well, we want to provide capabilities in the TS SDK to verify if the runtime is doing what it's supposed to do. So we will add like some transaction verification checks and things like that. And so the idea is to incentivize more people to provide like runtime instances. It could be the SPOs, for example. They could add this service to the toolkit.
Sounds great. But basically, you would be monetizing the infrastructure, not the contract running. Whoever runs the contracts doesn't really pay for it, or
he pays for it, but it's like directly, or it's transparent. So you can deploy runtime, configure a fee which you want to for every transaction which you deploy on chain, and it's transparent service. So you say, okay, this piece, this few Lovelace go to my wallet, because I'm providing the service.
Okay. Great. So this is 12 months of 2025. Hopefully, a proposal will be approved, funded by Catalyst. Not sure how do you want to steer the session today? Do you want to open for questions, or do you want to go over anything else specifically in the proposal or in the blog post?
I think we've talked long enough.
Yeah.
So if people have questions, let's try and answer.
Okay, let's just go over these topics. These mostly I brought them in here. We've covered a number of them already. By the way, I have it in my clipboard. I'm just going to drop here what Thomas just shared on the chat. So for the fee infra, we can refer to this, which I didn't have in the document so far. Now, around on the open source side in FOSS, we've spoken about this. It's all going to be 100% open source. And is there like any concerns or any changes? More like Marlowe was not open source so far. Was that it? And now we're paying like an Apache type of license or something?
No, Marlowe has been open source. It's been open source all the way through the project. So it started off as a research project at the University of Kent, but funded by IOHK as it was then. And the IP has always been owned by IOG, IOHK. So, and it's always been open source. So that was that's never been an issue. And sort of incidentally, that was one reason why, as an academic, as I was then, I was really keen to work with IOG, because they had this policy of any research that was done, they A, wanted to see papers published, and B, wanted it to be open source, so no conflict. You know, I've former colleagues who did work with other large corporations based in Silicon Valley, whose policy was really not to open source things. So yeah. So in a sense, nothing has changed, except that IOG wants no longer to be the owner of the IP. Wants to hand it over to the community.
And something about transparency, like we didn't say that, but we want to have a transparent backlogs. You know, like so that was not the case before. IOG is like hiding the backlogs. So we're gonna You're gonna make everything transparent. You're gonna see what is the current task of Tomasz and I, and Simon. You will see everything, where we're going. You could say, I want to do that before, and then you can justify everything. You can push your own PR, and you can become a contributor. That's what we mean, like, when we say community-led project. I think that's the most radical change, like organization-wise. It's like we want you to be to modify, do whatever you want with Marlowe.
And the objective is really to facilitate development. So we are really open as well, meaning this proposal is, like I said, not a change in the language. We don't do any changes in the language. We do some changes to the validator, but because we didn't want to make two proposals this rounds, but the next round we want to put a concept phase for Marlowe v2. We have already started discussions, and we encourage any developers who wants to join us. It's not like a closed group; it's actually open group. Mm-hmm. The hourly rate, I'm not sure, but it's really okay. I think we gonna so everything gonna be transparent. Every funding which we're gonna get, if developer is experienced enough, we're gonna split this evenly.
Okay, sounds good. So next on the topics here, these are actually basically one question, which is obviously you've explained here a lot of optimizations and changes, but could you just recontextualize a bit, like how the runtime works, for example, at TXPipe? I don't think it's worth doing a demo here, but maybe I would ask one of you to drop a link for the playground and something of that sort, maybe on the TXPipe side as well. Can you speak a bit about how this articulates and how this runs?
So I'm taking care of the links. Tomasz, can you speak?
So basically, I was asking Thomas about the Marlowe runtime, how hard it is for some infrastructure provider or even an SPO to start running it.
So we try to nail two groups, meaning some people want to have serverless solution and don't bother with any kind of infrastructure work. So TXPipe provides. So we provide free runtimes out of the box. It's our minimal infrastructure. Actually, on Hetzner, we migrated to the cheapest possible server. So we provide testnet instances, so you can start playing with TypeScript SDK after hitting npm install, really. But of course, we don't provide mainnet infrastructure, and TXPipe provides this. We also, like Nicholas said, in the last milestone, we're gonna try to facilitate or incentivize other infra providers to do the same. And TXPipe, Santiago yesterday was present and said he's happy to see these changes. He said it only makes his work easier.
Yeah.
Could I just jump in there about TXPipe? So IOG has agreed to fund the TXPipe infrastructure until the end of 2024. So we'll be able to put in place appropriate migration arrangements for anyone who's dependent on that. I mean, it gives us plenty of runway to ensure that anyone who is using that will be able to transition smoothly to something where they're self-hosted. Sorry.
Yeah, and this is really important point, because IOG was kind enough to also provide this funding gonna be transparent. We don't have yet a legal entity, like Simon said, I think, but the part of this funding goes also to this infra which we had. So we minimized the requirement. We migrated from AWS to cheaper servers, so we have run away, I think, for 3 years for infra from this budget, or even more. Yes, for infra alone.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Okay, moving on to the Marlowe. Like I added this question here around like do the use cases change much? Like for here, we're still going to use Blockly to some extent, or how does that change? Is that more any changes there for V2, but not for 2025?
No, we don't plan to change that. So you will still have the same. We will maintain the feature. And yeah, so we are more focusing on. So yeah, we are more focusing on the integration part of the contracts. But you will still have the same capabilities as today, and we have planned to improve the language, and that at that moment that will change, and we will make it more efficient.
It will change for the better.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So the second track which we want to initiate in the next proposal in the next round is like concept phase, and then we're gonna have product phase, and when we have Marlowe V2, we're gonna upgrade all the tools around it. We don't want to put a lot of work before this larger step. What I want to add is like there is a proposal already, few proposals developers are working. I know that Marlowe Hub proposal from previous or 2 rounds before, they are asking and we are discussing, maybe they're gonna enhance the flowcharts which we have in Runner, and they're gonna use widgets to present Marlowe contracts in different way, in different manner than Blockly does.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a state machine, so Blockly is like not really mapping this way of seeing the Marlowe contract.
Okay, that's exciting. More transparency, more intelligence around that. I think we've covered the monetization there, and we've covered the Catalyst proposal. Not sure if you still want to fly over it at all. Otherwise, we would go to questions in the chat before we close. So for the chat, I would maybe pass the mic to Paul, because he was asking here about the payout commissions and the automated payments. Paul, do you want to voice these questions, or should we just get them from the chat?
Yeah, you're welcome to just use the chat one. I don't want to presume to know very much about what the capabilities are, and so I'm asking more generally to see, in what ways can I help these business owners? And I would imagine that as time goes on, I'll find more applicable uses, but I just have these questions as I'm listening to you guys present.
I think what you're describing here is sort of like a use case for someone building a contract that could potentially do this or not, right?
Yeah, it's a large percentage of my clients, they're not salespeople, and so they are looking for outside sales or people to help generate business for them. And one of the things that, of course, they have active in the fiat system is being able to track their commissions. And so that was one of the things that I was thinking as you guys were talking, especially about if you can go back up to that flow chart. I just want to see what the title was on that one. Yeah, I think it was in the contract execution portion. Something that came to my mind was this ability that when a transaction comes in, so I'm going to use my hand here to describe this. So as a transaction comes in, that it's able to split apart, one to the merchant and then one to the salespeople. So it would be, say for instance, if the sales executive makes the sale, they get 30%. Can Marlowe provide that, or am I looking up? Am I barking up the wrong tree by thinking of that?
No, it could be easily created with Marlowe. Like the platform could create such a contract, and it could be transparent. Yeah. So
okay, all
it's
right.
kind of split.
Yeah. Okay.
So the same thing for subscriptions and that type of thing, right?
Yeah, with subscriptions, it's a bit harder because in like legacy system or regular banking systems, we have lock or some kind of access to the bank account. Yeah,
Right.
On blockchain, we have to lock some funds somewhere in order to access it. So
correct.
if
yeah,
the user...
and that makes sense. Like well, I mean, that's how I was first introduced to the concept of proof of stake. Was imagine, a freelancer wanting to be able to initiate a contract, but wanting to also know that the funds are all there. Like I still have probably $40,000-$50,000 worth of contracts that will probably never get paid, but I never would have started them had I known that the customer never had the money, right? So I would imagine similar to that, where it's like proof of stake in a sense. We know the money's there. There's the account. It's ready to go, but that it gets drawn down as the contract progresses, as these different milestones get met and the contract is fulfilled at those milestones, that releases the funds. At least that's, again, how I'm thinking this works.
So this micro payments, which we were discussing, this kind of feature, locking funds up front, but those funds are locked and dedicated for this particular subscription. So the payer also like cannot. There is like a withdrawal period where if the payer wants to close the contract, the service provider have time to cash out or not sit or spot that the closure started and stuff like this. Yeah, so we can discuss this, but it's not like funds are coming in automatic, like in a banking based subscription. When I have a salary, it fills in my account and someone charges my account. Yeah, in here the funds should be locked in some sense and charged actively by the user. Yeah, but the system gonna be transparent and gonna fulfill the requirement that the service provider has transparency and safety.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen again to Paul. I think you're good with your question, but there's also a remark here, and maybe we can clarify it for Alex, where he was sort of questioning. There has to be something in the background, in the back end, let's say, creating the transactions. Would this be the Marlowe runtime that's doing this part, or I'm not sure if we covered this specific point of view from Alex.
So the creation of the transaction, that's what the runtime is doing for you.
Okay.
And
so
then
it has sort of like a background runner service.
Yeah. And then you can send the transaction through the runtime, or you can send it directly to yourself to a wallet or something. So that's not like you're not obliged to go through the runtime to submit transaction.
So that's exactly from Alex's point of view, where we think that like we need to have back-end services to automate smart contracts because they're not live. They don't submit transactions just out of their will, let's say. Here we have this feature that because Marlowe has a runtime always running, it can do this type of timing. And working with business workflows, as I did for 3 years, I can tell you that this also aligns. Maybe we can catch up, me and Paul as well, to look at use cases and how businesses could use this. But it does create a lot of opportunities as well, especially because it abstracts the business from that type of running the service, or even setting that up, that logic.
One thing I would like to add to this description is like Marlowe gives the user ability to specify arbitrary contract. It's constraint language, but arbitrary contract in this language you can define, and runtime is general enough to execute any Marlowe contract. So you speak to runtime and in Marlowe language really, and you don't have to think about the lower level UTXO. So you think in realms of Marlowe and you use REST API and that's it.
You don't have to think about off-chain, on-chain code. That's abstracted. You don't have to think about XO. It's just like an account-based model that we provide to you.
Sounds good. Martin, do you want to voice this or?
Yeah, sure. If you lock the transaction, it would be nice to maybe do that with multiple vendors. Is that right now something you? Is that how I understand it right now, or is it one-to-one right now?
So
Like one vendor where you lock money with, one person where you can deduct.
So we in this round we don't want to do composition of payment channels, but we could introduce this secret-based conditional checks. I mean, in this round it's gonna be one-to-one, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can imagine a scheme which is a bit different, where we have one-to-one. Customer has opened a channel to a payment provider or payment gateway, and payment gateway has multiple channels provided to open to different merchants. Yeah, and or you could have even multiple customers, channels, and then composition of those two makes like a Cartesian product of possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm building also a Catalyst proposal device where you could do things like this, and running Marlowe on such a device would be interesting. But yeah, finding a way to do that without locking multiple amounts of money would be preferred.
We have pretty dense, like we have to cover a lot during this year, so we cannot do in depth one thing. We decided, okay, let's polish those like I tried to explain, the long hanging fruits, which are pretty unlock some stuff already, or pretty exciting stuff already. What you are asking for is also exciting, but yeah, maybe next.
Yeah, but it's my application, so yeah, it's my question.
Guys, we have just 4 minutes. I was teasing Sebastian from Hydra and working very, very closely with Mithril as well now. Yeah, so literally just 4 minutes to share some thoughts.
Yeah, of course. It's also why I joined this one. I find it very exciting that Simon, Thomas, Nicola, and the others, and Brian, I see here too, maybe you're also on board of this, that you're kind of taking this step into doing things a bit different, like in the past with IO, right? Involving the community more. It is nobody knows really right now how kind of the future will be working on Cardano. Everybody's kind of looking at how they kind of get this, their projects, their interesting next steps, kind of to build the things people need. There has been multiple working groups, I guess, kind of being stood up in Intersect. There is multiple MBOs being stood up. There is multiple things going on. Nobody really knows how exactly this will go down. I'm really looking forward to see you guys having a Catalyst proposal here, taking concrete action here, really taking the Marlowe project, I guess, out in the open, and what it ultimately counts, I guess, to have inclusiveness in like what could be built next, what would be valuable to build next, what would enable use cases, have this discussion out there in the open, be very transparent about it. I will definitely look closely how you pull this down, pull this up, or whatever it means, how to make that work.
Pioneering
pioneering, of course, right? I mean, we have a bit of a similar history with like IOG being mostly the sole custodian on the roadmap, right, of what's going on in Marlowe and also what's going on in Hydra. We've been always tried to be very transparent in what we do, but also putting these things out now. I mean, in the end, it's always been open to chat and give feedback on the roadmap, but there is not so much incentive to do so. Hasn't been in the past. Now it's becoming more and more, as more features we will be like bringing in, and other projects being like part of these kind of themes, right? Which is about easy programmability, about scaling, about interoperability, making things more capable by bridging to other networks and things like this, right? So this is with multiple areas kind of storming right now. I'll look in how you do things. Maybe you look in how I do things on how I include the community on Hydra working groups or talks, or just give the transparency to the people.
Yeah. We'll be in touch.
Hydra was all the time leading this kind of sorry, I mean, we want to probably follow you, because the Hydra team is doing a great job, already. Even at IOG, we are not so nice for open source community in the past.
We could say the same, about your team, so that's funny.
Yeah. So I will copy your approach if it works.
Let's copy each other.
That's open source.
Exactly. That's
Guys,
the way to do it.
we're really like we're gonna be cut off. I'm sorry. So let's keep in touch, okay?
Thanks for
coming
the
by.
invitation. It was enjoyable.
Speak
Great.
soon.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see everyone.
Bye bye.
That's great seeing you all. See.
Bye.
Bye bye.